Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Politics on the Hindus YouTube channel. This is an episode which has come to you after a 2-week hiatus. As you know, I have been extremely busy with political coverage of the results of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections and the government formation efforts that have gone on so far. Now we are done with all of that and I am back with far fewer assignments on my day job, as I call it, and I'm free to do these episodes yet again. Now, this was an exciting week in politics, but the fireworks are continuing to be set off well into the second week of the government. The BJP, which fell 32 seats short of a majority in the Lok Sabha, is at the head of an NDA government, and for the first time in 10 years, that is an operational fact. The results had their own impact, not just on how much the BJP will have to accommodate allies, but also within the larger Sangh Parivar, and that will be the subject of this week's Talking Politics. On June 10th, RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat, while addressing newly trained Swayamsevaks of the RSS in Nagpur, at the conclusion of their training period, created shockwaves with his comments. Now, he deplored the undignified rhetoric that populated the election campaign, a remark he said applied to both sides. And, it has been a very, very polarized campaign for the 2024 Lok Sabha election, the worst in recent times as far as I could recall. And RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat also seems to have reflected some of those concerns in his speech. Now, he went on to say that Parliament was about consensus. The opposition was not the Vidodhi Paksh, it was the Pratipaksh. That it was the opposite side, but it was not your enemy. And democracy was a conversation, etc., etc. He said, and I quote, "The kind of things that were said, the way the two sides castigated each other during the elections, the way no one cared about social divisions being created because of what was being done, and for no reason, the Sangh was dragged into this, untruths were spread with the use of technology. Is this the way knowledge should be used? How will the country operate like this?" Now, this was a very even-handed sort of a comment, not just on how the BJP ran its campaign, but also how the opposition ran its campaign. The entire campaign about the changing in the constitution and some morph videos that were making the rounds of Home Minister Amit Shah, etc., saying that reservations would be done away with. It had a huge impact on these elections, and that was also part of what RSS chief kind of spoke about. But his sharpest comments appear to be aimed within the BJP. He, in extolling the characteristics of a sevak or a servant, an oblique reference to Prime Minister Modi terming himself as the Pradhan Sevak rather than the Pradhan Mantri of the country, he said, "A true sevak maintains decorum while working. The one who maintains decorum does his work but remains unattached. There is no arrogance that I did this. Only such a person has the right to be called a sevak." No names were named, but the phrases used were pertinent and pointed. He also criticized the government's handling of Manipur, where ethnic violence has been raging for over a year. Manipur, he said, has been looking for peace for a year now. It should be discussed on a priority. The state has been peaceful for these past 10 years. It felt like the old gun culture had come to a demise. It is still burning in the fire of the sudden tensions that rose there and was made to rise there. Who will pay attention to that? It is the duty to prioritize it and take note of it. This could not be aimed at anyone other than Home Minister Amit Shah. Now, what does this speech of RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat mean? Why did he choose to make the speech now? And what does it mean for the BJP? The speech appears to be a kind of a scold delivered by Mr. Bhagwat to the BJP over its conduct when in government in the last 5 years, especially with a majority of over 300 seats. and the poll campaign as well, but largely the entire 5 years is also encapsulated. Now, while the core agendas of the RSS, like the construction of a Ram temple in Ayodhya, were carried out, as well as the removal of Article 370 according special status to Jammu and Kashmir, the RSS felt miffed that its own political wing, which is the BJP, was cornering the glory that it was not seen as an ideological victory for the entire Sangh Parivar. Not just that, in Maharashtra, the game of splitting parties and taking in outsiders like Ajit Pawar of the NCP, however tainted by corruption allegations they were, and in UP, where the RSS did ask for a change in candidates, which did not happen, saw the RSS cadre, which is usually key in raising the temperature in the BJP's electoral campaign, to stay home in sullen silence. The second and third question are actually connected. And Mr. Bhagwat chose to make the speech on June 10th, a week after the election results, as it was appropriate to do so once outcomes were known. Also as a warning that with BJP President JP Nadda's tenure coming to an end at the end of June and a new BJP President set to take his place, the RSS will demand to be consulted on the candidate this time. This is particularly important because Mr. Nadda, during the election, had given an interview to a newspaper where he was asked about why the RSS doesn't seem to be as active on the field as it used to be in the past elections, and he basically said that earlier the BJP required the RSS, now BJP is pretty much capable of taking on the elections by themselves. So the RSS felt miffed over that as well. They said, the upper leadership understands why he may have said it, but the lower levels of cadre felt slighted when it was said that the RSS cadre was not required. So all of that has been, basically gone into why and what are the implications of what Mr. Bhagwat said. Now, in the last 10 years, it is said that the BJP High Command, they basically decided who the party president was going to be, and the RSS was kept in the loop, but was not deferred to on the choices. So let's have no illusions about the fact that, there is some big civil war happening. No, this is a fight within a family for importance, and sometimes somebody becomes more important than the other and then, quickly is reminded. I have a feeling that this is what it is, and a lot will depend on who will be the next BJP president. You can see how far that tug of war is going to which side in this situation. Now, Mr. Nadda is now a minister in the union government, and hence he's ruled out on getting a second successive term. Now, the BJP's internal polls, sources say, will be under the aegis of either Mr. Nadda or probably a working president appointed by the BJP's parliamentary board. Now, this working president will be the main contender for the president's post going ahead, and a membership drive will be initiated as a first step to these internal polls. After the membership drive is done, district level polls will be held in the state units, after which state level elections of state units will be taking place. Only after 50% of the states complete their organizational polls, that is, district level and state level, after that will the national president be elected. Now, this could stretch to September and beyond. Last time Mr. Nadda, I think, was formally anointed, Jan. He was appointed, but anointed later, and basically I think we were going into COVID lockdown at that time. So you can imagine it's going to stretch a bit, but it's going to be interesting nevertheless. Now, the internal churn set off within the Sangh Parivar is unlikely to settle down with this. As I said, it looks like a fight within the family. However, a close scrutiny of actions, both from the RSS and the BJP of the other, is likely to continue. Now, we shall track the story as and when it pops up next. As for me, I'm just glad that you have been watching despite the long hiatus before this episode. Do stick with us, and I will be back next week. Thank you very much for watching.